Welcome in everyone to another live edition of 410 Sports Talk. I'm Glenn Martin here riding solo for this one. Well, just maybe in a little while you'll be seeing a special guest here, but of course DK is in the background holding it down, but Jimmy's traveling right now and will not be joining us. So have no fear, it'll be me, and then in a little bit we'll be getting joined by Ravens wide receiver Devontez Walker, who is a official member of the Ravens final 53-man roster, or at least initial 53-man roster, and we're going to go over the rest of that before welcoming Tez back onto the show, because there was some surprises. And every season, every year this time, we kind of expect there to be some sort of surprise. But I think this year, one in particular might be more surprising than in years past that I can remember. So we're going to get into that, talk about all what it means and you know, who's going to be on the team, who's not, who could possibly be coming back in the very near future after some roster configuring with the Ravens. But before we get into it, I do want to mention our sponsor, and this show is being brought to you by ZipRecruiter. And with ZipRecruiter, look, anybody who's ever had been tasked with the job of hiring someone, they understand not only does it take an incredible amount of luck, but also takes a bunch of time to find the right candidate. You're constantly waiting for the right one. You're siphoning through stacks and lists and of possible resumes, and it can be challenging. Well, the future is bright, and hiring looks much brighter because ZipRecruiter's latest tools and features help speed up finding the right people for your role, so it saves you valuable time. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. With ZipRecruiter's new advances, you can easily find and connect with a qualified candidate in minutes. With over 320,000 new resumes being added monthly to ZipRecruiter, you can reach more people and fill the roles much sooner. Let's see here. With ZipRecruiter, you can save time by it looks like 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter actually get a quality candidate within the first day. And if you go to ZipRecruiter.com/audio right now, you can try it for free. Again, that is ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. So shout out to ZipRecruiter for sponsoring this week's episode. And don't forget, not too much longer here, we're going to be getting Devontez Walker in here to talk about his experiences as the training camp is over, preseason is over, and we near the start of the season. But before we do, let's get into some of these cuts, because look, the Ravens are one of the few teams that is yet to officially announce their roster. So we're still kind of waiting, but it basically we kind of know who's making the team and who's not making the team. There's not a whole lot of secrets, even though the Ravens haven't officially put their list out there. So let's get into some of the surprising cuts. I think all of us knew that there was a chance that the undrafted rookies that kind of stole the show in preseason, being Higgins, Lowry, and Martin, right? Those were the three that kind of stole preseason away and were making plays consistently all throughout. Also in training camp, turning heads and opening eyes of the coaches and fans. But we also recognize, man, it's going to be tough for, even if they make plays, for 3 undrafted guys to make a roster that's as stacked as any roster in football. I think the only roster that I think is arguably better than it would potentially be the Eagles. And even that, I'd certainly be willing to argue. So it's a challenge for any undrafted one guy to make any roster, much less this roster, as talented it is. But all 3 were able to make this team. So that's really where I want to start, right? You got to start with Keon Martin, the cornerback, the rookie. Was he out of where was he out of? Let's see here. I know that the safety was out of Chattanooga. Okay, here we go. Out of Louisiana, 5'9", 170 pounds. All we saw from Keon Martin this year so far was a playmaker, a guy who knows, where he's supposed to be. He's got a knack for the football. Instincts, out the wazoo. This guy doesn't take time to process what he's seeing, and can, kind of absorb that information and make plays. So Keon Martin first on the team to make it as an undrafted rookie. So I wanted to just start with the kind of the coolest stories of it all. And I think the coolest one probably of all is going to be the undrafted guys. So I'm going to pull up the roster in here and share it with you. And then I'm going to switch to some of the shockers. But yeah, so pulling it up now, as you can see on your screen, whoa, went a little too zoomed in. Keon Martin is going to make this football team. And the converse shock of it all, I think the thing that has everybody most surprised is how they cleared that roster spot, right? And let me see here. Let me take down and replace that with the shocker of the day. As you can see on your screen, Jalen Armour-Davis, the talented cornerback who's often injured since being drafted by the Ravens 3 years back out of Alabama. He finally, the shame of it is that Jalen Armour-Davis did about anything you could ask of him to do in the preseason and in training camp. He first and foremost stayed healthy, made it through the entire training camp, played in every preseason game, and played very well, was sticky in coverage. And we already knew when he came out that he had all the intangibles, right? He had the height, the weight, the speed. He had everything you really want, but just couldn't stay healthy long enough to show it and gain the trust of the coaches to put him in the game. This year, he finally does that. And surprisingly, the Ravens release him anyway. And I know that some fans are saying, hey, look, he could still be brought back. This could be one of those veterans that doesn't feel like that's the move with this guy. We'll talk about a veteran who does feel like his return is going to be just around the corner. But Jalen Armour-Davis, the way he played, the height, weight, speed, measurables he has, the player he was coming out of Alabama, in my opinion, there's no doubt that he's going to have a market and the teams are going to be all over trying to get him on their 53-man roster. Now, that it's still possible that he could, for whatever conversations he may have had with the Ravens front office, that he has some sort of understanding. It's possible, but I think very unlikely that Jalen Armour-Davis will be back after his release. I hope I'm wrong because he balled out. But the fact that he would make the practice squad like Brandon's suggesting, I find very hard to believe with the need at cornerback around the league. Yeah, I think there's not many positions that you keep 6 or 7 of, and cornerback's one of them. You need a ton of good corners. And he played his ass off. He's an experienced guy who's got everything you want. The only thing he didn't have was his health, and he seems to have that right now. So kind of feel for him. Wish he was still able to make it, and we'll talk about who look, I have some disagreements, of course. I'm not saying I know more than the Ravens. Certainly don't, but I certainly have my disagreements on. I mean, Jalen Armour-Davis is still in his rookie deal, very inexpensive. He's an outside corner, which, it always seems like the Ravens have more inside flexibility at corner than they do at outside. He had that positional versatility. Surprised to see him I think he was the biggest shock on the list. I think there's no doubt about it. He was the stunner. Nobody thought, Lisanne, he was his first few seasons, but I mean, you can say that about a lot of guys, and some guys who are still here, you can say that very thing about. And that's the part, I think the part that has me the most surprised. And yeah, look, we got good corners behind him now making the team, and being the corners on this team are going to be Jair Alexander, Chidobe Awuzie, Marlon Humphrey. They have Ruben Lowry listed as a corner here, even though I believe he's going to be playing safety for us. TJ Tampa, Nate Wiggins, rounding out the cornerback room. So still, they got plenty in the room, but man, maybe a handshake deal. Maybe you're correct. Yeah, I know, Coach. He is, but the shame of it is when he's finally healthy is the year he gets released. It's like, dang, you kind of feel for him, but yeah, it is a nice way to put it, I guess, injury prone. But look, like I said, same can be said for some guys who are still on this roster. So I think that's the shock of it, is that there's still a bunch. Sean is back. Sean Pisker, welcome back. I know that Sean gets away from football during the offseason, but nice to see you come back. Glenn, they tweet out the front. Oh, they just tweeted it out. Can you check to see if you can find that, DK? I'm assuming Dominic's referring to the Ravens tweeting that out. But welcome back, Sean. Appreciate you jumping right back into the chat, and glad to see you. And I'm sure I'll be seeing you in all the post-game shows and all that stuff. So appreciate you joining us, and thanks for the super chat and your continued generosity. Appreciate you. But yeah, let's get back into the roster here and talk about some more of the surprises here. So, all right, got it in the screen in front of you. Surprisingly, ESPN, they already, I guess maybe they had it a little, very quick to get their roster up. So another shock. So no surprise, Devin Leary is no longer on this team. All the expectations are he'll be brought back as the practice squad quarterback and will be the game day emergency quarterback when need be. But as you can see right on your screen there, the first name listed in the running back room, I looked at it as a bit of a surprise. The Ravens decided to keep 4 running backs. And again, this is a team that has a fullback on the roster. Not all teams even have that. So in a lot of teams, they would look at this as 5 running backs. But, most typically we keep 3 running backs and a fullback. This year, they just did. They saw too much out of Rasheen Ali, I guess, to cut him. And it surprises me to some degree because we've already on this show talked about the difficulty it's going to be to find Keaton Mitchell snaps, right? When you have, a workhorse like Derrick Henry and then the perfect complementary third down back in Justice Hill who can also run the ball effectively, it's hard to think, where are we going to find Keaton Mitchell snaps? But Keaton Mitchell's kind of that perfect third back where he doesn't need to get warmed up. He doesn't need a bunch of carries to get moving like Gus Edwards who bludgeons you and beats you down over the first 2-3 quarters and then really starts to rip chunk plays in the fourth. Keaton Mitchell's not like that. He needs 4 or 5 carries, and any one of those 4 or 5 carries could be an 80-yard touchdown. He's shot out of a cannon. He's the perfect complement to the 2 backs we already have in that he doesn't need a ton of looks. He can simply have 3 to 5 carries a game, maybe throw him a ball, and he can be impactful in just that short workload. So with that being said, where are they going to get Ali snaps? I mean, I see no avenue where they can get him snaps on the offensive side of the ball. So then others will say, well, he's a special teamer. Okay, he certainly is, but he's not our punt returner. We know Wester's going to have that job. And while he's shown the ability to kick return, I think, as a Ravens fan, I'd be perfectly fine having Keaton Mitchell and Justice Hill be our primary kick returners. And we have other guys on the roster that can do it. So I guess that's the role he'll have early on. He'll be one of the 2 kick returners we have lined up receiving. But if that's his only role, is that a big enough of a role to warrant an active, not just a 53-man roster, but an active roster? Active day roster. Like they only activate, 46 members or 48 members on game day? Well, I just wonder, like, if he's only kick return duties and he's sharing that as it is that enough to warrant activating him game day? Or could you activate an additional lineman in case of a couple injuries, or activate an additional defensive lineman so you can rotate guys and keep guys fresh? I just don't know how they're going to get Ali on the field. So that was shocking, but he certainly looks, he's good enough and earned it. He's definitely an NFL running back. It's just, man, there was a bunch of guys ahead of him. But Sean says, yes, sir, we back. Need the offseason to emotionally recharge. Love y'all. Well, appreciate you coming back as well. Missed you having in the chat, but we're Facebook friends, so I certainly see you guys catching up. I catch up on what you guys have going on, but welcome back. The flock has missed you, and we're certainly excited to have you here. Yes, I know, Coach, that he there's more on special teams. I know. I just wonder. Okay, but hey, they know better than me. I just wonder, how often we're going to see this guy active, and he could be active quite often. But I know we have a lot of special teamers on this team, and I just wonder, how many snaps he's going to be getting. That's pretty much it. But moving on down the line from the here we go. Let's see here. Oh, you have the roster. Nice. Okay, cool. Perfect. Can you zoom in a little bit on that? Because I'm having some trouble seeing that. Or I can just blow it up. Okay, there we go. All right, cool. All right, so wide receivers, as you can see on your screen, not really any surprises there. This is the prediction we made. Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, Tylan Wallace, Devontez Walker, and LeJontay Wester make the team. I guess the only one who was really the biggest surprise on that, I guess, would be Dayton Wade. But I certainly hope he's still in the plans for practice squad. And he just didn't do enough and didn't have a lot of opportunities. Honestly, some of the passes that were thrown his way were either late or off target. But just didn't, I guess, show enough to beat out Wester, who had the big kick return or punt return, and played pretty well. So hopefully he'll be back and be on the practice squad, because we certainly could use the depth there. We know has versatility as a receiver and as a return man. So I'm hopeful he can come back, but didn't see any like stunners in that group. Same can be said in tight ends. Not really anything completely mind blowing there, but. Before I go any further, I will get back into this. I did want to welcome in and bring in our guest of honor and guest of tonight and friend of the show, and hey, a member of the Ravens' initial 53-man roster. I got a cut name, Redbeard. I got a name for you. I could certainly announce, and I will in a little while. But before I get into that, welcome back to the show, Ravens wide receiver Devontez Walker. Tez, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. Appreciate you having me again. I'm good. How you doing?
Doing well. Excited to see the Ravens roster. And look, there was certainly some surprises there, but I want to get your take. What is roster cut down day like for someone? I mean, look, you may be a bit humble, but to me, there was no doubt that you were going to make this team, but there was certainly doubt for those around you, those you practiced with, practiced against on the opposite side of the ball. What's this day like with the team going from 90 men down to 53? How's it like for a guy, even like yourself, who wasn't no real worry of being cut, but is seeing friends and coworkers leave the team?
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, like, I was pretty, locked in on, what's going on. Like, obviously, we got the Bills next week, so just trying to be locked into that. But you can like sense like and feel for some of the guys. Like you see them like throughout the facility and throughout practice. Like you can see like they're a little worried or they might be nervous on like what their future gonna hold, if they're gonna be here, if they're gonna be somewhere else, or if they're gonna be anywhere. So so I kind of felt for some of the guys.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, you probably get close, spend a lot of time with these guys. I imagine you get pretty close with them. But for you specifically, I think we got to see a lot of you in the preseason, which was awesome to see. You got a ton of targets, especially in that Cowboys game. It was awesome to watch you go out there and make plays and used in a variety of different ways. Now the season's here, and I'm curious, what type of role do you see yourself carving out on this team when you have so many talented players? We just talked about this roster is full of talent. I mean, certainly in the offensive side of the ball, you guys, I mean, your team is stacked, absolutely stacked with pass catchers all over the place. What kind of role do you see yourself carving out in such a loaded pass catching room?
Honestly, I think my role this year, obviously, still going downfield, doing those type of things, but I think my role is more so like being ready to play anywhere. Like I feel like based off this preseason and camp, I've been able to show that, I can run the whole tree and I can be put in any spot and be fine. So I think that'd be my role this year. God forbid, say somebody go down or they want a certain type of personnel, like I can be that guy they look upon to go and do, different things that I've done in the past. So I think I can see myself having a larger role this year on offense.
Yeah, for sure. And that was, I think, what was coolest to see in the preseason is that, such a variety of different ways they were getting you the ball. And I think that was cool to see, because it's like, wow, you don't, you of course contribute in any way you can, and chunk plays are big time, and your speed and size certainly opens up the field, down vertically. But if you want to get on the field, more consistently, it's good to see the coaches showing trust in you to get open in a variety of ways and not just running a straight line, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that was the exciting part. But you talked about DeAndre Hopkins and how when he was first here, how, it's nice to absorb some things from a veteran. Is there anything in particular that you were able to gain from either him or some of the other veterans on the team this year that you felt like maybe was key to helping unlock some things for you this offseason?
Yeah, the biggest thing with all of them, like Zay, Bate, Ty, D Hop, they all tell me the same thing. Just go out there and just play. Like, they sometimes they see me, they see, I'm trying to, do everything perfect or the right way and stuff. And, that's when you start like thinking about too much. Like you probably can't play, your full speed. You out there trying to, get the perfect depth or, like, how like you just trying to do everything right. And they kind of saw that with me. So, D Hop with the places he's been, he was just like, you go out there and play, like you can play full speed. The coaches, they dare to coach you. They're gonna coach up every little thing. That's their job. But going out there and playing, limiting thinking, like you're able to play your fastest. So I feel like, that's what I've been able to do in the spring and during this summer camp. I was able to just go out there and play and then, let them coach me up or whatever.
Mhm.
But another thing, like I just honed in on like, the playbook and stuff, knowing where to be, knowing what I have and stuff. That also helped me out. So that was some of the biggest things. All of them gave me advice on.
Yeah, and we always talk about on this team how much like iron sharpens iron. And I think who was it? One of the NFL pundits said you'd be hard to find a more talented secondary than what's going on in Baltimore. You practiced against that secondary all training camp and preseason. What can you tell us about that set? Like Jair's kind of new to the flock, right? Jair, we've seen him from a distance in Green Bay, but haven't really seen him up close and personal. And then, give me your assessment of our secondary. How good is this group?
Man, it's unbelievable, and it's like you said, like I get to go against them every day. And then speaking of Jair, like yeah, he was in Green Bay these past few years, but it's like it feels like he's been here for a while. Then he came in like his personality like fits so well with us, and he's been such a good piece for us like in practices and helping us get better and stuff like that. But the secondary as a whole, and I tell people all the time, like I'm going against the best secondary, best defense every day. So getting out there in those games against Dallas, doing what I did and stuff like that, like it's nothing I haven't seen already when I get in the game. So I feel like going against those players every day, then going out there in the game, like it's really nothing. So that's why I accept our secondary.
It's almost like a vacation. You go out there against somebody other
Yeah,
than
something like
Marlon and
that.
Jair,
Yeah.
Nate.
Mm-hmm.
Sean
Kyle
Pisker
Hamilton,
says,
all of them, yeah.
yeah, and I got to get your take on something about Malachi here in a second. But Sean Pisker says, tell Tez I love using him on Madden. LOL. Are you a Madden guy, Tez?
I used to be. I probably slowed down after like Madden 22.
Well, man, you gotta get a copy.
Like I have, so it's crazy. I played with myself for the first. I used myself on Madden for the first time back in like probably like June.
Okay, because every time I play, because I play the game a lot, everybody always gets you a superstar. You're running 9 routes on everybody, catching footballs. So Sean's not alone. Everybody loves.
And that's funny because that's really the only thing I cared about on Madden. Like I can care less about my overall and all that. As long as my speed is like, you know what I'm saying, 90, 92 and above, like I'm good. As long as they get that right.
That's right. Yep. And that helps in Madden because need a burner.
Yeah.
Need a burner in Madden. Gotta have one. But you mentioned the safeties, and I wanted everybody talks about Malachi and how he's so advanced. Do you see Malachi? Does he look different than a rookie would? Does he what makes him? They talk about he looks like a veteran even though he's a rookie. How do you see that?
From what I see, like he just looks comfortable out there. Like since he got here, is that like he fits perfectly with our defense and what they're trying to do. Like you see him out there communicating, basically commanding the defense. Like I said, it looked like he's been out there with us. And then you see him like out there making plays on the ball in the air, coming down on guys, being in his right fits and stuff. So like he looks real comfortable. Like he looked like he already in like year 4. And plus I seen him in college when I was at Kent State. And it was the same way when he was at Georgia. He was a freshman when I played my thing, and it was the same way. Like I was looking at him like this guy, he gonna be real good. And he's lived up to what everybody thought about him. So he's gonna be good for us.
Yeah, and when you saw him as a freshman, wasn't he captain of that team as a freshman?
I think so. I know he was
at Georgia.
He was one of the guys. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. Now the Ravens, most people look at them as Super Bowl contenders. In fact, most odds have them as the lead dog as far the most likely to at least reach the Super Bowl. So that's kind of the the team goal, but what are your personal goals for this season? Are there any like benchmarks or like what's the Tez Walker personal goal list for this year?
Personal goals. Some I'm gonna keep to myself, so I'm gonna try to
Okay,
think of
all right,
something I
fair
can
enough.
throw that.
Fair enough.
Well, personal goal that is also a team goal, but so what a lot of people don't know, I played football since I was 6 years old. I've never won a championship in football. I've won a championship
Okay.
in every other sport I played: basketball, track and field, football. That's always my number one sport, and I've never won a championship.
That
So
is wild. Not
winning,
in high school. Not what did you come up?
no.
Did you make it to the chip?
Nah, we
Really?
never had high school. No, closest
Wow.
I came to a championship in football was like Little League, and we lost in the championship.
And you still remember it, don't you?
I do,
Yeah, of course. Right?
I would do. But yeah, never won one. So winning the Super Bowl that would mean a lot, obviously, to the organization, but that would mean like a lot to me because I've just like the only sport I've never won a championship in.
That's so. What other sports you play other than you said
I
basketball? What
did
else?
basketball and track and field.
Okay, so you won a title in track and field too.
Yeah,
Okay, more individual or team?
individual.
Okay, so you just care about winning this year. That's it.
Oh yeah,
That's it. Well, I quickly want to ask you what you think about LeJohntay because LeJohntay, obviously burst on the scene with that punt return, the vision. I mean, it was absolutely insane. But we also got to see him a bit as a receiver as well, and we got to see a ton at Colorado. One of the favorite targets there for Shadur. But what's your because everybody says he's similar to Zay in his shiftiness. Is that how you describe him?
And that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, shoot, like I really think like God forbid something happen to Zay, we have to throw him out there. Like I don't think it's no drop off. Like I think he can do a lot of things that Zay does, and like I look at him in that way. Like I think he's gonna come in and do a lot for us. Like I think he's an unbelievable football player. That's my opinion of him, and he's been real good for us, especially and then everybody saw it in the preseason, him making plays. So I mean, it was no surprise to us. And then it's like he has that, you can see it in his eyes sometimes. Like he wants it, he's willing to work for it. Like he don't take no shortcuts. He's constantly, asking questions, dialed in. So I think he's gonna be real good.
No doubt. It sounds like everybody that I've heard, like they talk about your work ethic. They talk about. It seems like that's just who the Ravens bring in, right? Because it seems like that's a consistent thing I hear about everyone on the team. Work
Right.
ethic is there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
Oh yeah, for sure. And then like what I love about this team, like everybody knows like the main goal. Everybody keeps everything the main thing, and that's winning a championship. Like everybody knows what's best for the team. Nobody's scared to speak up about anything. Like this team is very player driven. Harbaugh loves that. So I think like I think this team is destined to go very far. That's what I love about it.
And that's what I hear about a lot of the great teams. Really, all the great teams is that you just said it, player driven. Like you got your coach, but your leaders, your best players have to be your best leaders, have to be your hardest workers, and then it kind of trickles down throughout the rest of the team. Oh man, that's crazy. Do you ever, Tez? Do you ever like sit back and go, I'm catching balls from Lamar Jackson with Derrick Henry? Like, I mean, you're playing with legends, coached by a no doubt about it first ballot Hall of Famer and John Harbaugh. Like, no questions asked. You got. I mean, do you ever? Are you just so locked in? You don't really take a step back and like, dang, I'm playing with like this is crazy.
It's kind of like that now. Like it's died down because I mean it's my second year here. But like when I first got there, it was so. I mean, when I first got there, it was kind of like, oh yeah, I mean that's Lamar Jackson, that's Derrick Henry. Like I'm hyped, but it's like what I'm saying. But it was really like being in that locker room with them on game day, seeing them put their stuff on. It's like, dang, like I was watching these guys in middle. Same with D Hop now that we got D Hop. Like I was watching these guys in middle school. Now we teammates, and I get to suit up with these dudes. And then like you get out there in the game, it's like you see you out there blocking for Derrick Henry, or you seeing him run the ball, and it's like, dang, like that's my teammate. So I mean, it's still kind of like that now. Like it's amazing. Like catching passes from Lamar every day. Being able to go out there, being in the same huddle as the Derrick Henrys and Mark Andrews and stuff. But yeah, it's all been great.
Love to hear that. Love to hear it. Now, last one from me about, let's get, Sean says, Tez, who would win in a race, you or Nate Wiggins? Oh, I love this. We always ask the speed questions.
I'm going to take me every time. But I ain't going to lie. I ain't even serious. Like Nate, he probably the only one, like I own up to that one. Like he probably the fastest, one of the fastest dudes in the league.
Yeah.
Like Nate, he a slider. Anybody else though, I'm taking me for sure.
Well, Nate should feel honored. I know one thing about Nate. He's got a mean uppercut. I mean, I think we all saw that. I was actually at practice that day, Tez. It was funny. Because I think it was Keon Martin who first was getting into a shoving match, and Nate came out of nowhere throwing those uppercuts. I'm
yeah, man, it's crazy. I ain't even see it. Like I was talking to one of the rookie guys, trying to explain the gunner stuff to him, and I just look over, like I just see, benches clearing. I'm like, oh, what's going on? Then they said, Nate, got into it with whoever, and then on the film they cut it or whatever. So I really didn't even get to see anything.
Dang, so you didn't even review it in film study?
Nah,
Coach wasn't having it, huh?
They cut it out.
Yeah. I saw Coach getting into it with a couple others on punt. I think it was they were blocking the gunner from running down, and they put him in the dirt, and I guess they did a little too much, and Coach was I guess Coach doesn't like it to get too crazy with those joint practices.
Then it's just like, it wastes time sometimes. So I can see why coaches be feeling the way they be feeling about fighting and joint practices and stuff. So
I'm just glad he didn't hurt his hand, man, because you punching a helmet.
Yeah.
No fractured hands or nothing crazy.
Nah, for sure. Especially him. We need him.
No doubt. Yeah, dude is absolutely crazy. But also, Mark Andrews, gets it seems like he's kind of a lightning rod. Either you love him or, some of the playoff results last year has rubbed some of the fans the wrong way. But I always like to get players' perspective, because when you talk to players about Mark Andrews, like there's they have no question about how good this guy is and what he does. But some fans still doubt him. They say, he had the fumble, he dropped the ball. What's your take on Mark Andrews as a player?
Yeah, as a player, like I think, me personally, for what I see, like without Mark Andrews, like we don't go that far last year. Like I don't think we have nowhere near the success we have on offense without Mark. So I mean, I just feel like a lot of the hate he gets, it's kind of crazy to me, because I think he's the best tight end, one of the best tight ends in the NFL. And Mark, watch, seeing him every day, watching the way he works, he grinds, he practices hard every day. He just loves coming into that facility, seeing how, some may, portray him, and like they don't know what's going on inside them doors. So, they just see it from the TV. Like they don't see what we see every day. But, Mark, like me personally, like I love Mark, and everything he brings to this team and this organization. Like I like he one of the guys like I look up to on his team, and he's kind of like Lamar. Like he wants everybody to have the same amount of success he's having. He's always the first one down there in the end zone when somebody else, scores or make a big play. So Mark, I think a lot of the hate he gets is I say it's uncalled for, because he's a big part of this organization.
Yeah, it's crazy when you look at like the numbers, like passer rating when thrown to, separation. Like he's off the chart, like not just amongst tight ends, like the best in the whole league as a pass catcher as far as rating when thrown to. So it's like that alone should kind of tell you, better than any receiver, any tight end.
Yeah.
In
and
the
that
whole
goes
league.
Back to how he, approaches every day. Like he in practice and doing this stuff. So it's like, we get to the game, we ain't surprised. We seeing this stuff every day. So
yeah, it's pretty cool. I watched him him and Marlon matched up on the outside, the one practice I was there, and man, Marlon was right there, but he's too big. He's just too big,
strong. Like, that one thing I feel like he don't get enough credit for. That dude is strong. Like it'll be sometimes like we just hype in the huddle or something. He'll just give me a little shove. I'm like, all right, Mark, like,
chill,
bro, you 260, like.
Yeah. That's what people forget. He's the legit 260 pounds. Like that is, and you're not talking about baby fat. You're talking about a chiseled
like
260.
Man, like the way he moves, like he don't move like it. Like he moves like he another receiver out there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Sea King of the Sea says Tez Skywalker gonna ball out this season. Love to see it. Man, I tell you what, Tez, the fans are hyped for you, man. The fans are hyped. Do you have any any plans, because we expect you to get to the end zone a couple times. You got any like dances? Like what's anything planned out? Or are you gonna be spontaneous?
I don't really dance. I don't know. I just come up with something in the moment. I might try to go find something on TikTok or something. But yeah, I don't really dance. I don't know. Probably have to go to Zay and get something from him because he like, he the dancer or something like that.
Yeah. Well, DK has a question, the producer in the background. He's curious, what's your role expected to be on special teams this year since you're expanding your role in offense?
Kind of similar to last year. Last year I was on everything except for field goal. Like, so I think it's pretty much the same, gunner, kickoff, run down kickoff, kick return, punt return. So I probably can be all the core four.
Tez, how come we don't see you getting many shots at kick return with your speed? I see all these other guys go back there. How come I don't see you back there, Tez?
Not sure. I mean, the coaches, I mean, they bring guys in just for that. So, why not use them?
Yeah,
so then it makes sense, with kickoff return, running backs, they used to, ball carrying vision, being in that type of space. Yeah. So it makes sense. I mean, they have before, and I think, they could look more into it, like maybe, later on down the line, but, I ain't too much worried about it. I feel like, I think I've shown them enough to where, they do trust me, put me out there on the front line, and I go out there and block. So.
Gotcha. Well, Tez, what's your thoughts on this? What's the weather going to be like up in Buffalo? Is it going to be cold? Are they preparing you for any weather?
I doubt it. I mean, it's going to be the beginning of September. I hope it ain't cold. If it is, then something must be going on with the earth. But nah, I think it's going to be good. And then it's going to be nighttime, so it ain't like it's going to be crazy, like hot or nothing. So I would think it's probably be about 70s, high 60s maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I'd expect good weather. Hopefully it don't rain. As receivers, we don't want it to rain.
Hey, last one. Do you guys have any issues when you're a player with night games? Like, it's cool you get to everybody to see, but do you get anxious out throughout the whole day waiting for the daggone game to come here?
Honestly, so I've gotten used to it. So I've been fine in night games. When I was at Carolina, we had a lot of primetime games. When I got here, obviously we had a lot of primetime games. So I've gotten used to that. But so I think everybody on the team does real well with that. And I think, Coach Harbaugh and our staff does a good job, preparing us for that. And then we have people on the staff to let us know how to go about it, how we should, say we waiting all day. They'll give us, tips on what we should do, getting off your feet, maybe getting a nap in and stuff. Just doing everything you can to make sure you're ready for, those kind of games. Me personally, I can't stand night games, especially away night game, because, you're traveling right after you go home. You ain't get home till 4 or 5 in the morning. And then it's like, I'd rather just play at like 1 o'clock, 3:30, get it out the way.
Yep, I'm with you. I hate waiting for y'all to play, man. I hate it. Watching all the other teams play at 1 and 4. I'm like, damn, man, where my Ravens at, man?
But I think, I found, my routine on games like that. Like, being able to, chill for the day, probably find like a movie or something to chill and watch, or something like a show.
Mm-hmm. You still watch basketball?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a fan of that?
Yeah, okay. Basketball. I've been watching a lot more shows. My girlfriend got me into a lot of that stuff.
The Netflix and all that?
Yeah, like, in camp, you try to find that show or something like that, to get you through it.
Mm-hmm.
So she's been putting me on a lot of stuff. Gotcha. So currently, I've been in you've seen Peacemaker?
My wife watches all them shows. I watch sports and I play the game. And I play the game.
That was literally me. Like, yeah, she got me in all that stuff. So
yeah, my wife's probably seen everything on Netflix.
Really?
Let me tell you, she loves TV. Oh my goodness, she loves
TV. I judge books by its cover. Like, if it look like I ain't gonna like it, then I ain't gonna watch it.
Man, sometimes I walk in, I'm like, what the? There be some wild TV shows on Netflix. If y'all know what TV shows I'm talking about out there. I'm like, what the hell is this?
I know what you're talking about, because I feel like I just got done watching one of them where it was good to me though.
Yeah, but it's wild, right?
It do be wild.
Yeah. Like, what
But
the hell?
it'd be good though. I mean,
Keep you entertained. Yeah.
yeah.
No doubt about it. But, well, Tez, I'm going to let you get off of here. I appreciate your time so much. Good luck week 1 and for the rest
Oh
of the
yeah,
season.
most definitely
And
appreciate you.
we'll hope to have you back in the not too distant future. Okay.
Most definitely, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tez. Have a good evening.
You too.
See you, man. Man, so cool, man. How cool is that? Tez hanging out with us, has been for, since he's gotten here. So it's super cool. Feel very thankful and always appreciate his insight. I love I love when you hear from the players, especially when they talk about their teammates and they talk glowingly about them. I love to hear it because so often it's all about, but what did I do nowadays? What did I do? Look, did you see what play I made? Did you see? I love hearing guys talk about their teammates. I tell that to my son all the time. I'm coaching at a very low level, and I'm telling my kids that, like, hype your teammates. It's not all about you. It's about, and I love the fact that he has no problem kind of hyping up his teammates. And man, I'm expecting big things from Tez. I don't think it's going to be injury dependent for him to get on this field and make an impact. And it may not be a huge target share, but I think when he gets his targets, they're going to be impactful. He's going to make them count. They're going to be field flipping, game changing type plays. And of course, if there's an injury, then immediately thrusted into a much larger target share. And I think what he's shown this preseason is that, he can be tasked with replacing a guy like Rashad Bateman, where in the outset you might go, well, Tez is Torrey Smith. That's what he was brought in and claimed, was being kind of tagged with, he's our deep threat. Well, I think he's shown this year he can be a lot more than just that. And I think he could replace like a Rashad Bateman if something, God forbid, were to happen to him and be tasked with running a more diverse route tree. I think he can handle it. I think he'll make plays. Excited to see this guy's growth and, kind of where he goes from here. So excited about it. But yeah, let's get back into, I just want to go over a couple more of the roster discussions that we had. So yeah, go ahead and put that back up. Let's see what we got. I think we finished off with the tight end group. So let's go to the offensive line and talk. So we got Tyler Linderbaugh, Ben Cleveland, Corey Bullock. Shout out to Corey Bullock, Maryland Terp. Great story to see that guy earn his spot on the roster. You talk about versatility. This guy came out as a tackle. He's played guard, and now he just snatched the backup center job right out of Nick Samac's hands and played fantastic. Not just as what he did as a blocker, but his ability to organize guys at the line of scrimmage, point out the blitzers. I mean, Cooper Rush praised him a ton about getting guys in the right spot, picking up blitzes. This guy earned his spot. Shout out to Corey Bullock. I think he's going to push Ben Cleveland for the all-interior backup job. Like left guard, center, right guard, he'll be pushing Ben Cleveland. He's certainly the team's backup center. There's no doubt about it. So shout out to Corey Bullock, another kind of journeyman who's found a home here in Baltimore, and I expect him to be here for quite some time. Joseph Noteboom, the swing tackle out of L.A., came over from the Rams after 7 years there. He's expected to be the Patrick McCary of this group. Roger Rosengarten, Carson Vincent. Wow, what a player that guy is already showing he's going to be once he's done transforming his body and becoming an NFL player. Holy smokes, Carson Vincent has got a bright future. And then Daniel Faalele and Ronnie Stanley, no question. I mean, no shocks there. We all knew those guys were going to make the team. And we'll just kind of have to see how Daniel plays. And if he has those low valleys, we know he's going to have some peaks, but we just got to hope that the valleys aren't quite as low as we've seen here, in the last 2 years. But I don't think the biggest surprise there is Dellinger. Like Dellinger is a surprise in that, he's this year's draft pick, albeit a 7th round draft pick, but still this year's draft pick. And it just shows the Ravens in recent years, while they never used to, in recent years, they've shown the ability to get away from a draft pick, even as recent as this year. And that happens again this time. Now, the expectation is that he'll be brought back as a practice squatter, and I think that's ultimately going to happen. But I like that. I look at that as a positive change that the Ravens organization has made. I don't think you should still stay loyal to a guy strictly because he's a draft pick if he's being outplayed by a guy who isn't a draft pick in training camp. I don't like the idea of, well, because we drafted him, we're stuck. We have to keep him. We've invested a draft pick. Therefore, we must invest all this extra time in coaching to not make that draft pick look a waste. Well, if you know that you're going to cut a guy who's better to fit in a guy just because he's a draft pick, I don't think that's a good philosophy and a good way of doing business. So I love the fact that they're able to sit back and say, you know what? Yeah, that guy's undrafted, but he earned the job over the guy who was drafted, and so we're going to give it to him. So hopefully Dellinger will be back in the not-too-distant future on the practice squad and has a career here, but I think they were right in cutting him. He didn't earn it this year. Shout out to Don C. Gifting another 5 memberships. Don C., the legend of Don C. Appreciate your generosity and your support as always. Yeah, Devin Leary. Kai brought it up. Perfect example. Devin Leary. Get him out of here. He didn't play well enough, so he certainly doesn't make the roster. Now, look, Devin Leary's going to be on this team. We're going to see him every game day dressed and suited, but gosh darn it, let's hope he never plays. Defensive line, John Jenkins, Nnamdi Metabike, Aeneas Peebles, Broderick Washington, and Travis Jones make the roster. Let's see. Is there anything? I don't think on the interior defensive line there was any shocks. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's kind of what was expected. Now, if you include, is that D end on that? Like, is Brent Urban would he have been classified? I suppose he would have. Yeah. Okay. So in that regard, Brent Urban is, I guess, the surprise, but we all knew Brent Urban was, well, we didn't all know, but we both predicted that Brent Urban would be cut. And then as soon as one of these people who you see on your screen are moved to some sort of either a short-term IR with the designation of return or some sort of PUP list or whatever they do, I expect Brent Urban to be back on this roster before the Bills game. I think that's the expectation. I'm trying to think off who would be designated. Maybe Isaiah Likely potentially could free up some sort of roster spot with the unknown about when he's going to be ready to return. But I don't think Brent Urban's going to be on the streets for very long. I'll put it to you like that. But linebackers, this is going to include interior and outside linebackers. Now, this is probably the position group, especially in the inside linebacker room, that probably had the biggest surprises, right? Roquan Smith, no surprise there. Trenton Smith, no surprise. Jake Hummel was signed very early in free agency with the idea of taking over for both Malik Harrison and Chris Board, who were the veteran linebackers who left this team. They brought Jake in with the idea to be the replacement and participate, mostly on special teams. But we saw Chris Board and Malik Harrison get thrust into a role when Trenton was underperforming and Roquan was injured. They both played well. They got contracts elsewhere, and Jake was expected to take over. But then there was so much competition that there was some uncertainty. But Jake makes the roster. Teddy Buchanan makes the roster, this year's 3rd-round pick. Mike Green, no surprise there. But there it is, Jay Higgins, the 4th. Shout out to Jay Higgins out of Iowa. Just forces himself onto this roster, making play after play, showing off his instincts and sure tackling. This guy is proof that if you play well in preseason and you play well in training camp, then you can earn a roster spot, even though it's an already crowded room on a very talented defense. I love the fact that the Ravens stayed true to what you do on the field dictates whether you make this team. And 3 undrafted rookies, including Jay Higgins. I mean, that is so freaking cool. I love to see it. KVN next on the list. No shock there. And then there's the one I think that I wouldn't say shocks me, but David Ajabo makes this team along with Tavius Robinson and Odafe Owe. And that's the one I think that I have the biggest disagreement with. I look at this as a team who typically keeps 5 edge players. And right there on your screen there, with Mike Green, Kyle Van Noy, David Ajabo, Tavius Robinson, and Odafe Owe. I guess that is 5. Shit, do they normally keep 5? Is there one I'm missing here? Oh man, I feel like, let me see my notes here. I feel like there was an edge. Here we go. Okay, here outside. It's because of Desai. Okay, because of Desai just got moved to IR. So that's really what freed up the spot for David Ajabo. If Isaac were to never dislocate his elbow, that makes you wonder what would it have meant for David Ajabo. I do think Ajabo was aided hugely by the injury to Adisa Isaac, but still, with that being said, that's where I would have probably kept Armour Davis right there. But I'm not an Ajabo guy. I get that they, invested a 2nd-round pick. They got a lot of hopes in the guy. I just don't see it to this point. I haven't seen it to this point. The only 2 plays he made in preseason when he was completely unblocked. Now, he still made the play, which you got to give him some degree of credit for that. But, I mean, when I'm watching the tape of Mike Green and being just blown away at his arsenal of moves, I look over to the right side of that offense or on the exact same plays, and I see David Ojabo making one attempt at a pass rush move and then getting stuck in the belly button of the right tackle for the remainder of the play. Like, I just don't see it. But, hey, I hope he proves me wrong. And part of the reason why I bring him up, again, I've said this a million times, it's because I had high hopes for David Ojabo, along with all the other Ravens fans who said, wow, we got him in the second round. It's only because of the injury. That's a first-round talent, maybe top 15 talent. He'll prove it once he's healthy. He just hasn't proved it, even when he has been healthy. And so I think that's why you see a lot of frustration coming out. It's not that I'm rooting against him. Believe me, I hope he proves me wrong along with all the other guys that I may criticize. I hope he makes me look like an absolute idiot and puts up 10, 12 sacks. But in my opinion, I would have rather gone a little heavier at corner and made this change there. But hey, again, they know a lot more than me. Let's scroll down a little bit, see what else we have here below the linebacker room. Okay, DBs, another great story, fun to talk about. Two great stories in this room, matter of fact. So DBs is, of course, going to be talking about both cornerbacks and safety. So you see Nate Wiggins, Chidobe Awuzie, Kyle Hamilton, Sanusi Kane. Shout out to Sanusi Kane making the 53. Jair Alexander, no surprise there. Malachi, no surprise. TJ Tampa, not giving up on that guy. He played well in the preseason. Love to see it. But then the next two names right there is the coolest. It's so cool. Ruben Lowry out of Chattanooga, 5'9". What's he weigh? What's he weigh? Let's see here. Where is his? I mean, he's a smaller guy, like a small 5'9", 204 out of Chattanooga. So actually, he's actually well put together. 5'9", 204 pounds. It's Keon Martin, you see listed right after, who's also 5'9", but just a $170 out of Louisiana. Two undrafted DBs showing that they can make plays. I mean, Ruben Lowry, his ability to track the ball, I think in center field is what gave him the roster spot over a guy like Bo Braid. I think they found that, his ability to roam center field was kind of more the skill set that they were looking for that part of the safety room. And then Keon Martin, I mean, it's crazy to think that Keon Martin would beat out before the preseason, before training camp started, as soon as he was signed. If I told you that Jalen Armour-Davis is going to stay healthy and he's going to lose a battle against Keon Martin, I think a lot of people would have said I was outside of my mind. But Keon Martin, I mean, instincts don't lie. This guy, and I love the trust of his instincts, because we constantly hear about guys that, oh man, I knew it was coming. I didn't attack it. I didn't trust myself, and I didn't attack. Keon sees and trusts what he's seeing and then makes the play. And you got to love to see it. This guy is he's a playmaker. Point blank period, the guy can make plays. And then Marlon Humphrey, the vet in the room, rounding out the group. But congratulations to Ruben Lowry and Keon Martin. I mean, wow, what an awesome moment for these two. I'm sure they were sitting on the edge of their seat. It's so cool. And then the specialists, Stout, Loop, and Moore, no surprises there. As the bottom you see, designated for return, we have Adisa Isaac, who is expected to come back from a dislocated elbow. It's not a full season-ending injury. And then Emory Jones, the tackle out of LSU, is expected to compete at right guard, has yet to suit up, and starts the season on the NFI list. And then, as you can see here, Ardarius Washington, no surprise there. He's going to start and be on. The hope is that he might somehow, but I think if we get anything out of Ardarius, it would be a surprise. So now this could all change. Well, this couldn't all change tomorrow, but I do think there will be some subtle changes as soon as tomorrow. But certainly by the end of the week, we will see some adjustments to this roster. We'll see some guys fall off, and we'll see some maybe guys who were cut today come back. And then we have to look around the league, because there's a bunch of veterans who are now on the street as free agents who are looking to sign with potential new teams. And if the Ravens can see a guy elsewhere who improves this roster over somebody we may have here, you could very well see another addition brought in late. We see this all the time with Eric DeCosta. He's kind of infamous for his late camp and even early season additions. And a lot of times those guys end up making huge impacts. So, let's see here. Yeah, it's definitely going to be. I think it's going to be Leary, right? DK saying the Ravens need a quarterback on the practice squad. Oh, you think two quarterbacks? Okay, all right. So we'll wait and see, but hopefully none of those guys come close to seeing the field. Oh my! Look who just returned to the DK. You got to throw that super chat. We're talking to someone I haven't seen in a minute. Tell me you remember that name, Numra. Sup, Glenn with one hand. Trade Ajabo, sign Clowney, go Ravens. Oh, Numra. I still think about some of your comments in the past. Glenn with one. Yes. Trade Ajabo. Well, I'm not sure how much teams are willing to give up for Ajabo. I think at most you may get a pick swap at the late round or some sort of conditional. I'd love for them to sign Clowney, but I mean, I guess it could happen. It could happen, but they already, I think they're pretty much set at the outside linebacker position, edge group. I would love for them to bring him in and get rid of Ajabo. I'd sign up for that right now. But the problem is Clowney's a hell of a lot more expensive than Ajabo is. And Clowney, even though he's older, is still going to command a decent salary. He's not going to come in and play for free. But just as the player, it's not even close. I'd rather have Clowney all day, every day, in both run and pass. You can name it, and I'd rather have Clowney. But the price tag is going to be probably the deciding factor there. And who knows how it ended with Clowney and the Ravens. We know that the Ravens will bring back players, but if it ended sour, or if they were expecting him to come back and then I could see the Ravens just wanting to move on just because of that. Kai, the Martin story is like a Disney movie. Honestly, they need to make somebody needs to do some sort of story about a lot of these guys who made the team. I know that Jay Higgins Pops is on Twitter. Could not find a more proud father than Jay Higgins Pops. So I'm happy for their whole family. I think it's so freaking cool. I love to see him hyping his son up. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think, though. I mean, are you guys at all surprised? Like, what was the biggest shock on the roster cut down for you guys? Was it Jalen Armour-Davis? Was it someone else? Was there a guy you were kind of hoping impressed the coaches enough to stick around? And then is there a guy that you also see now on the streets that was cut from I know there was some, like Isaiah Simmons was cut, who's a very productive, albeit older player, but incredibly productive player nonetheless. And then our guy, former Raven, Deontay Johnson, is now on the free agency. Is anybody going to line up to bring back Deontay? Mark Aldridge has a suggestion. He says bring Snoop back at quarterback. Okay. I'd be okay with that. He's out there. I mean, it would be familiar face. Shouldn't be too terribly difficult to get him acclimated with the offense. We already know the guy. We know the person. Why not? Why not bring him back? He seems like the perfect guy to put. I like Hendon Hooker to the practice squad as well. Another guy who's older coming out, has talent, had the injury. Jimmy is traveling right now. Yeah, JD, yeah, definitely the biggest shock. Yeah, no doubt about it. No to Snoop. Okay, I don't want Snoop. I mean, look, anybody who they bring in, what I'm looking for is a guy. You're talking about your fourth quarterback. I'm talking about a guy who gets I'm not expecting this guy to come in and win games for me. I want a guy who can be good on practice. I mean, be good on scout team, who can get along well with the rest of the teammates, can at least push the guys while doing scout team to some degree. At least, put a good product out there as the scout team. But I, in no way, am expecting them to sign anyone to their fourth quarterback spot that is going to come in and contribute to any degree. So, yeah, I mean, Don C says, for me, it was JD. Glad the Ravens aren't too proud to keep draft picks over talent. Yeah, I love that. That's perfectly said. Yeah, I mean, don't keep guys just because, man, we kind of have to because we invested a pick in them. No, may the best man win and take the job. And I love to see that and I think that's an Eric DeCosta thing, right? Like, I don't see Ozzie. Ozzie never used to, he never used to get rid of him. But by the way, I was just to bring this up, man. Ozzie his last draft, DK, I just keep seeing things. Dude, Zach Seidler, that last pick, dude, he is a baller now in Miami. Like, 7th round pick, last pick of the draft. Freaking Ozzie, man. That guy, he knows what he's doing. Snoop. Hey, look, Snoop, obviously, look, that I'll never forget that Bengals fumble. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it in a million years watching Hubbard run it back the other direction. It was it's tough to see. But bringing Huntley back to me is at no risk of seeing Huntley on the field. Like, I'm bringing him back. I'm putting him, I mean, I don't know. I might put him ahead of Leary. Leary's bad, guys. Like, Leary to me is not, he's not, you like Devin Leary? Who likes Lisa Ann? What do you like about Devin Leary? What do you like about him, Lisa Ann? I mean, he might be a nice guy, but I don't think he's a very good quarterback. So that's the only problem I have with that guy is that I doubt I don't think he's even a backup level NFL quarterback. That's just my take on it, my opinion on it. So, but yeah, if they need to bring in another arm, doesn't matter to me too much who it is, as long as he gels well with the roster and can perform decent as the scout quarterback. But I think, it's just pure vibes, bruh. Just bring him back for vibes. I mean, what do you need? What are you really asking or expecting out of your fourth quarterback? Like, honestly, like what would be? Give me your list of expectations for your fourth quarterback. I don't think any of them is going to be win me games. So yeah, maybe it will be just vibes. But anyway, I think that's going to be it for me tonight. I appreciate everyone who joined me. Thanks again to Tez for coming out here. I hope he has a fantastic season, and I'm hoping to get him back on maybe at the quarter season mark to kind of get a take on what he's the first 4 games and kind of how he's feeling about how the season's going. Who knows what will change by then, but appreciate everybody joined in the chat. Appreciate everybody who joined as a silent observer, and DK, of course, appreciate you for helping me out and making this a lot easier for me. Thank you guys. We will be back soon to keep you up to date on all your Ravens news, but that's it for us tonight. See you.